Hi, I'm Sergey Beloy, and today we'll talk about founder of Infospace Incorporated, Naveen Jain, who was its president in the past, and about his present and rather expensive desire to build a service that takes stuff to the moon. Exactly 1 week ago, when the legendary space shuttle made his final landing at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, Naveen Jain, a person who calls himself a philanthropist, entrepreneur, and technology pioneer, unveiled his pioneer's plans for commercial exploration of the moon. In particular, he wants to mine the moon for precious resources. It also appeared that the moon has always struck imagination of Naveen because it was a darling dream of his childhood. Well, I respect his dream, because every person has a right for a dream, but I am strongly against when somebody uses, in fact, steals my money to pay for achieving his own dreams. And guess what? Here I'm talking about Naveen Jain. Now for the record, I am accusing Naveen Jain and his Infospace Incorporated that during many years they had been trying to pay for achieving their dreams with the money they own to me, and on the expense of killing my dream, namely my 2D-Infospace online businesses. In this light, their so-called charity activity looks especially ridiculous, as it may be considered as partly financed by their unwillingness to pay their outstanding moral debts, including a fair settlement for my case. There is no doubt Mr. Jain definitely remembers my story, not only because it was started under his presidency in the Infospace Incorporated in 2002, and not only because I addressed all my correspondence with Infospace directly to his name. It's also because he practiced a rather centralized type of management. According to his co-workers, Naveen was the Infospace, and no important decision in Infospace could be taken without his personal approval, let alone my case, which suddenly, and unfortunately for me, appeared to be about a very expensive part of a copyright property for his multi-billion empire. 3 years ago, I even created a special to infospace.com as a message about my case, specifically for Naveen and his Infospace, as its name actually suggests, to infospace.com. Then properly informed chief executives and Naveen about existence of that site, so they could read about consequences of their actions, obviously, if they wanted to. A week ago, I also created a special video, 3 facts on how Infospace Incorporated has destroyed unrelated online business 2D-Infospace. It describes just first 3 absolutely undeniable facts about what they really did. So when today Naveen Jain says in his blog about his passion to try and find on the moon the potential to improve the quality of life for all of us here on Earth, I would mention, well, Mr. Jain, that's all very touching, but before you start your improving the quality of life for all of us, let me ask you a simple question here on Earth, which usually bar attendants politely ask rather cheap people who didn't pay their bills. Forgot something? What is much worse, he, as well as his Infospace, simply decided to forget something. Is it cheaper for Naveen Jain to donate money for some charity than simply paying his debts in full, paying promptly, unconditionally, without any strings attached, simply because this is a must for preserving a good public image for any serious business that cares about its future and the future of its shareholders and investors? Naveen, Infospace, or both are liable to me millions of dollars towards implementing my dream. The most amazing thing is that it wasn't far ago when a settlement wouldn't cost Infospace a penny. All I asked the Infospace and Naveen Jain in particular was to pick up the phone and say sorry. And mostly because the Infospace has simply decided to consider me and my life non-existent during the last 9 years. Instead, the price of a possible settlement became 10 million last June. Today, August 3, it's 60 million, and quickly approaching a full price for the Infospace, which currently has a market cap of about 350 millions. Because it seems the only way Naveen is going to accept that I'm a live person is through facing a complete crashing his own business, dream, and ultimately life. Meanwhile, the New York Times informs Naveen Jain, an internet billionaire and a founder of the Moon Express, says the company will spend from 70 to 100 million to try to win the Google's Luna X prize. Naveen will not be able to achieve his dream after facing a need to pay me in full those 60 million I am demanding from his Infospace right now. Unless he promptly and fairly settles the whole business, this is simply not going to happen. Naveen project includes, among other things, selling exclusive broadcast rights for video from the moon, as well as sponsorships for companies to put their logos on the lander. Is there a need in a good public image if you want to earn on advertising? That is, on a close association somebody's public image with your business. This is also a question for Infospace, whose main source of income is advertising.